I think he made the most progress understanding the defense. I think it's been a very, very tough situation for him with not having a off season really, and kind of just being thrown into the fire. With not having any preseason games. So, his ability to just lock in, focus, and learn the plays, and speaks about how much he cares about the game.
Ben Arthur.
What's up, Bobby? What would you say is Jordan's strongest attribute, and how would you describe his game as a linebacker? What does he bring to that room?
Definitely think his speed is going to, pop off on tape for sure. How would I describe his game? I definitely think he's a physical linebacker, likes to come downhill. Definitely, you'll see him, if you watched him in college a little bit, he made a lot of TFLs and plays in the backfield just because he's so aggressive. So we expect that same type of attitude.
Corbin.
Hey, Bobby, you've gotten to play a lot of games against Dak Prescott dating back to his rookie year. But what areas do you think he's improved the most?
Is that a cat in your?
Yeah, I got 4 of them.
Okay, sorry. So go ahead. So I was about to warn you about something in the back, but I guess you know about it.
He likes football. Sorry about that.
All right, cool.
Yeah, you've played against Dak a lot dating back to his rookie year. And so my question is, what are the biggest improvements you've seen from him since he came into the league? And what's the toughest part about trying to defend against him?
I think it's poise. I think if you watch that Atlanta game, he never wavered. Even though they got down, he was, he kept the group pretty calm and, was able to rally those guys back. So I think that's definitely something that you see his growth from his rookie year to now. Because I think we were probably the first game he played in the preseason game against him. So definitely that. The hardest thing is, with mobile quarterbacks is, when they do RPOs and things of that nature, and you have to respect their ability to run, but then also having a back like Zeke to, we have to respect that as well. Kind of opens up everything for him. You got to respect his ability to run, Zeke's ability to run, and his ability to pass and find open guys off of those run actions.
Timmy B.
Timmy B. Cheese. I know a lot's made out of Bruce as a pass rusher. I'm wondering what you guys will lose without him as just playing that Sam role and holding the edge.
I just think his physicality. You never really had to worry about the edge when he was there because he, it's something that he enjoyed doing. He loved setting the edge. I think another thing that we're going to miss is his leadership. I think that was an area that he grew a lot from his time as a rookie to, now, having gone and visit different places. I think his leadership is going to be missed, but hopefully, we're going to have him around the building, and he's going to mentor a lot of the young guys. And so, definitely a tough loss for us.
Aaron Levine.
Hey, Bobby, you wore Manny Ellis on the back of your helmet last week. Why did you want to bring attention to that specific local case in Tacoma?
Just hearing his story. Obviously, if you read about it, it's a very unfortunate situation, and there's a lot of evidence that was hidden. There's a lot of things that were misprinted, and just another story, unfortunately, of someone that should be alive. And so, there's multiple names that I wanted to put. That was the first one that they approved, and so hopefully we shed light on these situations, but. It's getting tough too because we're shedding light and we're asking for justice and it's not necessarily being served. So we just got to keep fighting.
Thank you.
Matt Calkins.
Hey, Bobby. Pete said that week one you had the best pass defensive game that you've had in your career, in his opinion. I know that was something that you wanted to put an emphasis on from last year to this year. What steps do you think you've taken to improve in that area, and how do you think that's manifested on the field?
I think I've obviously been able to get my hands on a little bit more footballs. Definitely something that just wanted to – I feel like every offseason you kind of go into the offseason figuring out what part of your game you can improve, and I felt like that was something that I wanted to improve on, so I worked on it. And, I feel like I'm recognizing routes a little bit better and want to continue to grow in that aspect.
John Boyle.
Yeah, but Bobby, a couple of your teammates pointed out on the last play against New England how you recognize what they're doing, got everybody ready, and kind of got him in position to make the play. How much of that is just the experience and the film study? How much of that is just kind of instinctual? Just what goes into that as a middle linebacker of not just making the play after the whistle or the ball snapped, but making the play happen before it even starts?
I think it's a little bit of everything. I think it's intellect. I think it's memory, recognizing a play that they like to run during the game, and I think it's just trust in yourself, trust from the coaches to that you're going to do the right thing and it's going to work out right. And LJ and Leno trusted me, and they made an amazing play.
With the goal line in particular, it seems like over the years you've been involved in a number of goal line stops, and as a team you've had some memorable moments there. Just what changes down there? Is it kind of just the mentality of defending that last yard?
Yeah, I just think it's kind of like a barrier. You don't want nobody to cross the barrier. So something switches in your mind and not wanting somebody to score, and you want to do everything you can to protect that blade of grass. And a lot of it is just will. A lot of it is just who's going to be stronger in that moment, and it's something that people look forward to.
Bob?
Yeah, Bobby, I was just curious what your general assessment is of your defense right now. Obviously, there's been some yards, but you're 2-0 and all of that, and sort of made the plays when it had to be. Do you look at the yards that have been given up as any sort of concern at all? Or?
I don't think it's a concern. I think it's definitely an area that we can improve on. I think there's a lot of positive. I don't know where we were at this point last year, but I know that there was, we weren't as stout in the run. And so I think these first few games have been very, very stout in the run, which, kind of forcing teams to pass the ball. And so we just have to be ready and be more prepared and execute a little bit better. But I'm not concerned about it.
Michael Sean?
Hey, Bobby, just wondering if you heard the grand jury's decision in the Breonna Taylor case and what you thought about it.
I did just hear it before I came over here. My initial thoughts is I can't really say I'm surprised. I think there was a lot of hope that they were going to do the right thing, but at the end of the day, given how everything's happened historically, I can't say that I'm too surprised. It's unfortunate. I feel, obviously a lot of anger, but we have to try to figure out different ways to get what we want. We can't put it in anybody else's hands to make the right decision because historically they've shown they will not do that.
Thanks.
Joe Fan?
Bobby, what's it like when obviously a team has to pass and so you kind of know to a degree they're going to get theirs, but the Patriots had 3 separate drives in the fourth quarter. I think were 75 yards plus. So then obviously 2 of them were scores, extended into the one ended on the 1 yard line. How do you find a way to regroup and stop the bleeding, so to speak, to where teams aren't able to just to gash you at will?
That's a very interesting question, but I think we just have to execute better. I think that's basically the same. It's just executing. We understand that what they're going to do. Obviously, when you get a team behind or whatever, and they're in those situations where they have to pass the ball, you have to be able to execute. You have to be able to understand that they might hit us with a double moves. They might hit us with their best passing play, and we definitely have to be better. But it's 2 games in, and we've seen a lot of football to be concerned.
Brady?
Hey, Bobby, what was it like going on the road for the first time this season, and what was most different just in terms of what you guys do on the road, how things are handled there from normal circumstances?
Everything was pretty much the same. I think the biggest adjustment I felt like was the food, because normally we land and we get food and buffet and all these different things, but because certain rules and things of that nature, we have to order our food, and sometimes we don't order our food. Sometimes the food is, sitting there for a while because they prepared it, waiting for us to come, and maybe we come a little bit later. So I think that was like the biggest adjustment. But, I feel like our, everybody, that's prepared and got us ready to go out there and travel, did a really, really good job, and it wasn't too off. So it wasn't noticeable. You just have to, find some good food.
And,
Kurt?
I'm sorry, I had one follow-up this time. I'm just wondering your impressions of Jamal Adams as a blitzer through 2 games.
He's amazing. I mean, like I said, I've watched him, blitz versus the Jets, and it's always fun to watch. So actually having him here and watching him do it has been great. I think he has 2 sacks already, and somebody that they have to account for because he's going to make you pay if you don't.
Thanks.
All right, last one for Bobby. Jackie.
Hey, Bobby. Aside from Dak, I'm just curious what you think of the Cowboys' offense, just how they're working in the rookie CeeDee Lamb, and then obviously Zeke in the run game.
To me, they look great. Zeke looks in really, really good shape, and he's running the ball very, very hard. And so it's going to be a fun matchup to go against him, and when he gets the ball. But like you said, there's more than just him. It's Zeke, it's Dak, it's the Rook, it's everybody. They're trying to find a way to spread the ball around and kind of get those playmakers touches, and I think they're doing a good job. I think that was one of the reasons why they were able to come back. They started to get the ball into their playmakers and they made plays. And so that's something that we have to be prepared for, be ready for, and we have to do our best to try to make this team one-dimensional.
Do they look much different under Mike McCarthy?
I don't think it's not a lot different. They favor different personnel. They run a lot more 11 personnel now, but at the end of the day, 2-1's going to get the ball at some point. Dak's going to throw the ball, and they're going to get the ball to the guys on the outside. So, we kind of know that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bobby.
Appreciate it, guys.
Freddie Swain is up next. Bob Condotta, question for Freddie.
Yeah, hey Freddie. Well, what were your thoughts getting the first touchdown and all of that? Were you able to keep the ball or do anything special with any of that afterward? Or
yeah, the guys were good about it. I kept the ball. I'm gonna frame it a little later. But the overall experience, it was good. To come playing a game like that. Obviously, we had to fight back and try to keep the lead and things like that. So just to come in and make a play for the guys, it was great.
Greg.
Hi, Freddie. You were from the University of Florida, and now you're catching passes from Russell Wilson. Can you talk about that jump and how he makes a receiver's job easy?
Yeah. So I came from Florida. We had a lot of wideouts in the room at Florida. Obviously, we got a lot of wideouts here in this room. So it's the same thing, but our quarterback is a little different. Like you said, he makes our job easy. You just got to run and put your hands up and the ball will be there. So I think Russ does a good job of putting the ball there and making guys plays.
Curtis.
Hey Freddie, congrats. How rough was it during that stretch in August where you were down and weren't able to practice there for a little bit to try to get up to speed to where you could be where you're at now and contribute as early as you are?
I think the Zoom meetings were helpful. We met at the times being and Russ, we would meet and just go over plays, and then off the field I would just take my iPad and I would go out there and run the plays and try to make sure I was in shape and make sure I knew when it came to game time, I made sure I knew what I was doing.
And how nice is it that here early in the season, Russ is still coming to you right out of the gates here?
It's good. I just think it shows the trust he has in me and the trust he has in the receiver. So I think it's pretty good.
Jen.
You talked about the lack of crowd noise and energy. I'm curious, though, how does a lack of crowd reaction affect you as a pass catcher? Because normally you would be able to hear the crowd react to a ball coming your way or knowing that the DB was coming up on you, something like that. How does that affect you?
I don't think it affects us. I think our sideline does a good job of letting them know when the ball's in the air and things like that. So I think, and then we create our own energy, or create our own juice from the sideline. So there's no effect.
Ben Arthur.
How's it going, Freddie? What's the biggest thing you've learned from Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, and how much easier do they make your job on the field when they attract so much of the attention from the opposing DBs?
They make the job pretty much easy. They are the big name guys, and they get double teamed and things like that. So we just gotta. One thing I took from him is just be decisive in your route running. Whether you're going across the middle or whether you're breaking out, just be decisive and give the quarterback a good option.
Thank you.
Joe Fan.
Freddie, I'm curious if you knew going into that play that it might be going to you if you were the first read on that play. I mean, Tyler lined up in the backfield. It was pretty unique play, and then you catch the ball and you got nobody in front of you. I guess maybe you could take me through the whole thing.
Yeah. So all week, we were trying to get it the T lock. So we were just throwing it to T lock, and then Coach said in our walkthrough, he was like, "Hey, just be careful. You know what I'm saying? They might drop one of the crossers," and they ended up dropping me, and I just ran into the end zone.
Last one for Greg Bell.
Sorry, Freddie, I wanted to ask you again. You mentioned the iPad. So to explain that, you were working with Russ, and then he had you take the iPad out to watch you run routes. Is that how you did it?
Right. No. So we would go over plays. You talking about as far as like Zoom meetings and stuff like that?
Yeah. Right.
So we would go over plays, with the rookies, and then the team would go over plays, and then after that, I would take it out on my own and go out there and run the plays and do things like that.
And so film yourself running them.
Right.
And then did you send that back to Wilson, or how did you guys mesh on the actual routes and working on that? Did you do homemade cut-ups, as it were?
No, we would just talk about it, and then I would just run the routes on myself, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. Weird way to learn a playbook, huh? Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Freddie.
Appreciate you.
All right, Curtis.
Hey, Ugo. How much easier do things feel for you now here in year two as you had the rookie year underneath your feet and having to get thrown into that this week? It seemed like you were definitely ready for everything that was thrown at you.
I feel like everything, felt kind of slowed down for me, the physical aspect and the mental aspect. Having that year under my belt really, helped me out a lot. Once I got out there with my opportunity, I just cut it loose.
And I know you'd mentioned this offseason using the Green Bay game kind of as motivation. To see it then put into action like that, where you've got a handful of tackles and breakups and stuff, was it kind of good to see it pay off like that?
Yeah, that's just the beginning, Like I said, that's been my motivation, what happened in Green Bay. Hopefully I continue to carry that chip on my shoulder as well.
John Boyle.
Yeah, Ugo, I was just going to kind of build off that. Just, where do you feel like you've grown the most as a player from where you were last year to where you are right now?
I feel like I've grown a lot in the physicality part. I'm really taking a lot of effort into, getting off on blocks, getting physical and tackles, just being nasty in the trenches.
Bob.
Yeah, Ugo, I guess what was your reaction, Sunday when you see Marquise go down and you sort of know that you're going to have to be the guy in that game and maybe for the rest of the season?
Seeing my brother Marquise go down, I was really terrified. I was like, man, hopefully it was nothing serious. And then I seen how they had to help him off the field. I was like, man, this isn't looking too good. But at halftime I told him, Marquise, hey, we're gonna win this game for you, man. And I just went out there. When my name was called, like I said, I answered.
Greg Bell.
Ugo, what's the mental challenge of having a job, then they move a guy from a different position into your job, and then a couple weeks later you're right back in it, have to be ready and right back in it?
I'm just always a patient person. Always, just always paying attention at all times because, like you said, you never know when your name's going to be called. Life is very unpredictable, so I always just been that person just to staying ready.
Thank you.
Corbin.
Hey, Ugo, you got to play a lot of snaps against Julian Edelman, widely regarded one of the best slots in football. How frustrating was it on a few of those plays that you had near perfect coverage and somehow Cam Newton was able to thread the football in there?
Man, that was very, to this day, that still bothers me because that just shows how good quarterbacks can put the ball in places where DBs can't get it, no matter how good the coverage is. So, good thing I have Russ on my team so I could, harp on that a little bit more in practice, make sure I'm in better coverage and I'm finishing on the ball.
Michael Sean.
Ugo, where'd you train this offseason and who were you training with? I
trained back at home in Nashville, Tennessee with Jeremy Holt. I was training with Kevin Byard, Corn Elder, Tyrell Dotson, George Kittle, Derek Barnett, all the guys. We're all from Tennessee, so we all train together.
What was the emphasis while you were training this offseason?
You said what were the emphasis?
Yeah.
My emphasis, I was really training a lot with my man coverage, trying to get hands on receivers, being tight in coverage, and trying to guard as many different receivers as I can. Because, when it comes to season start, I'm guarding different type of receivers. And every receiver does different releases, they run routes different. So I'm just trying to get a feel of how I can, adjust to different type of players.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Masvita.
Hey, Ugo, going back to being nasty in the trenches, how much is that being physical and also film study and just kind of knowing when to be physical from studying film?
Yeah, with the nickel spot, you got to run like a corner and you got to hit like a linebacker. And with that, the film study is just all about putting yourself in the right position because, certain things, certain lineups, certain down and distance, where the ball is, will all give you, these are all tendencies to put you in a position to make a play.
Matt Calkins.
Hey, Ugo. I know Bobby was instrumental in that last play, just kind of get everyone set up. I'm just curious in general, even if the stats aren't always there, what kind of presence does Bobby have on the field? Or what does his presence do just to change the game in general?
His presence is like unbelievable, man. I've never played with a player like him. That's always to the ball, never gets tired, always knows what's going on. He's just a true leader, and he affects the game whether he's either on the top of the leaderboard tacklers or not. Like he's always affecting the game every single time, and he's just a very consistent player for years.
Last question, Brady.
Hugo, hey, I'm wondering just from your perspective as a defensive back, what makes Jamal Adams such an effective blitzer?
I feel like what makes Jamal Adams an effective blitzer is his feeling for it. He has a natural knack to get to the ball. He knows how to time it up. He knows how the great angles to take. And he's been doing this since college. I've been watching him since college, and he's been showing the same type of tendencies, and and he's been consistent with it. And he has a God-given ability for that, for sure.
Thanks, Hugo.
Thank you.